Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know, my name is Veronia and today we're going to be having a look at our budget for November. So we're really just going to be tracking our spending and seeing how we did, whether we underspent, whether we overspent, who knows, but we're going to find out by the end of this video. So if you're completely new to my channel and you didn't know, usually what I will do is during the beginning of the month, I will do a budget update to let you know how we've actually planned our budget for the following month. And then by the end of the month, that's when we'll actually track and look through and see how it's been going. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this month actually went and being aware that this is going to be the last month where we've really had a consistent income. So for those of you who don't know, I actually quit my 9-to-5 job and I have a video that explains why I did that and the reasons behind it. So definitely check out that video if you haven't already. I will link that up here for you and in the description below. But essentially what that means is that I no longer have a 9-to-5 salary. So when it comes to our budget for the next few months, it's going to be looking very, very different. But enough about that. We're going to go through our budget now, and if you are interested in getting the same template, this is something that you can definitely purchase from me. I will leave links in the description below, because when you actually purchase the template, you will also get a net worth statement and a sinking funds calculator, as well as the choice of either choosing a monthly or weekly budget template. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. Remember, it's never too late to start budgeting, so of course I'll leave that in the description below for you. So let's move on and see what happened in the month of November. So in terms of our income, as I've mentioned already, both myself and my husband actually have a 9-to-5 job, and so that's essentially how we made our budget in November. We also took some money from our wedding fund. So if you didn't know, we actually got married earlier this year and we basically had some gift money that we were given, and we were actually using that money to pay for something, which I will definitely mention later on in the video. But you will already know that if you did actually watch our November budget, so when we were actually setting up our budget. So definitely check that video out if you haven't already. I will of course link that up here for you and in the description below. But essentially our incomes didn't necessarily change, so it was all consistent there. Moving over to savings and investments, again, this is something that I don't want to dwell on too long, because usually we're quite consistent with that. Reason being is because we've pretty much set a system where our savings and investments actually take priority, and that's always being paid out automatically. So you can see that we still managed to put 1,500 towards our savings, and then another 100 went towards my husband's stocks and shares ISA. So that's really when we're investing in the stock market, and then another 100 actually went towards my business as well, because a lot of you guys will know that in terms of my actual business and my side hustle, I was basically reinvesting a lot of the cash back into it to start growing it, and I also wanted to use some of the money in terms of our investments to do that as well. So pretty happy with that 1,700. Of course that is not going to be the same over the next few months, so just be aware that there will be changes with our savings, but I know most of you guys will know that already. And yeah, I'm just happy that we've been able to keep this up for so long, even though there are going to be some drastic changes when it comes to the next year. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel. Plus I'm sure you already know it's free. So then moving over to our essential bills, again, these are pretty much fixed costs that don't necessarily change very much. So it's something that we always have in our budget that we consistently pay in terms of things like rent, utility bills, council tax, and all of that stuff. However, our electric and gas bill has actually changed, so it will be increasing. I believe it's around 60 a month that we're going to be paying from now on. So that's also going to be reflected in our next budget. So I'm not looking forward to that. But obviously gas prices have been increasing recently, so I'm not even actually surprised that this happened. But in terms of how much we're actually paying, it does still seem quite competitive, so I'm not too upset about it. But yeah, you'll definitely be seeing that in our budgets going forward. And then obviously we had our SIM contracts as well, so that was pretty much paid out. Again, if you're new to our channel and you didn't know, we tend to buy our phones outright, and then we will also have a SIM contract. We're both currently with Voxy, so specifically if you are in the UK, that's something that you could potentially look at, because we get a lot of endless social media data and calls and texts and things like that. So definitely check out Voxy if you haven't already. I will leave a link in the description below for you. And then after that, we also paid out our tithes and giving and things like that, because for us it's just really, really important. Something that we always want to be doing every single month consistently without fail. So of course that was paid out when it came to all of our essential bills. So when it came to our sinking funds, the only thing we paid out this month was our emergency fund. And so what I mean is that we actually had to top up our emergency fund. So most of you guys will know, if you've watched our previous budgeting videos, that we actually had to use our emergency fund because my husband had to go hospital. I mean, it's just a whole other story. I will link the video explaining it because I don't want to explain it here. But essentially what we had done is actually decided to use part of our wedding gift money to top up the emergency fund. So that's pretty much what we paid out in terms of sinking funds. So at the moment, we've actually been using a lot of our wedding gift money to pay for our sinking funds. So things like clothes, TV license, all of that stuff, that's pretty much been paid. I think next year we'll probably need to start thinking about what other sinking funds I might want to set up. But yeah, in terms of other sinking funds, there was nothing else that we needed to pay for this month, so that was all good. And then let's move over to spending. So when it came to petrol, we had originally budgeted 110, and I think the previous month we had slightly gone over, and I'm not gonna lie, we actually went over this again this month. I think a big reason for this is because petrol has just been expensive recently, so we haven't even increased the number of trips, and obviously because I'm no longer working, I'm no longer having to take the car to drive all the way to work, so I thought that meant that we wouldn't actually need to pay for that much petrol, but actually we still ended up overspending. So going forward, our petrol budget is probably going to need to change, and that has just been mainly because petrol's been really expensive recently. So although we budgeted 110 for the petrol, we actually ended up spending 124 for petrol. So we did go slightly over. Obviously it's not a huge amount, but it's something that I do want to take into consideration for next month as well. And then when it came to groceries, so originally we did budget 136 for the month, and so that's usually because we tend to try and spend around 34 a week just on groceries. And this month I was actually taken by surprise because we actually ended up underspending for our groceries budget. So we actually ended up spending 129, and if you guys follow me on Instagram, then you probably already know this already, because I do like to show you guys how we actually grocery shop during the week. So definitely follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. And obviously seeing this, I mean, some of you guys might think that we're always like scrimping. I'm not even gonna lie to you, we don't actually really look at the cost very much. We literally just make a list and then we go out shopping. And so because we've actually planned our meals and we actually shop at places like Aldi, we actually don't end up spending that much money, even though we still do buy a considerable amount, and we still eat very well as well, because I'm not here to starve, okay? So yeah, I'm just really happy with how that's gone, and we will see what happens in the month of December, because obviously I'm mindful it's Christmas time and there's going to be like mince pies and treats and things like that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes, but at the moment the month of November seems to have gone okay. And then in terms of toiletries, so originally we had budgeted 30, and that's something that we usually budget for the month, and I believe we actually went over with toiletries last month, and a big reason for that is because a lot of things finished in our house, so we did need to replenish it. But this month we pretty much stuck to the budget, and we actually ended up only spending 30 for toiletries, so I'm very happy with how that's gone. And then in terms of our spending, so if you didn't know, myself and my husband, we allocate 100 towards our spending each, so that's really for us to just spend on anything. And in terms of my spending, I mean, I didn't go out too often this month. I don't necessarily go out very often anyway, but I pretty much spent most of the allocated money. I did put some money into like a separate present sinking fund, so that's if any of my friends have birthdays, I want to have some money for that. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how that's gone as well. And then when it comes to date night, so we had also budgeted 70 for date night, and we actually ended up spending 61 instead. I mean, we didn't actually really go out when it comes to date night, so I think that's something that we want to try and do next month. And I feel like I keep saying this, but the colder it gets, the less I want to go outside. So yeah, we'll definitely see how that goes next month. And then when it comes to personal care, again, we budgeted 40, and so we actually ended up spending the 40, which I knew we were going to do, so that was all good. And then also when it came to miscellaneous, we had budgeted 15 for that, and we actually stuck to that, so we did end up spending 15. And then of course in terms of our pennies jar, we just put any other loose change in there. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how the month has gone. Obviously it meant that we pretty much did stick to budget, so in terms of our spending, we did stick to that £600, which is around $800. So I'm really happy that we were able to stick to our budget, and obviously next month I feel like it's going to be quite different, so just be prepared for that. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to see how we're going to navigate that over the next few months, and of course I will keep you guys updated. And particularly if you guys want me to continue doing these videos where we actually track the spending, I will of course do that. Just let me know in the comments below so I know that you guys enjoy this type of content. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, did you end up overspending in November or underspending? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Friday.